Have you ever stopped to think that you might be using the greatest creative force in the universe against yourself? Most people use their imagination to create problems that don't yet exist, worry about bills that haven't come due, or picture a future where everything goes wrong. But what if I told you that your imagination is the key that opens all the doors in your life? I'm Bob Proctor, and today I'm going to show you how to turn your mind into a factory of possibilities. Have you ever wondered why your life seems stuck at the same point, as if there's an invisible barrier between you and everything you really want? After decades of study and working with people from all over the world, I discovered this barrier has a name: misdirected imagination. Most people use their imagination every day, but against themselves. They imagine the worst-case scenarios: losing their jobs, relationships ending, dying alone, or never getting out of debt. And these thoughts repeat daily like a scratched record, feeding fear, doubt, and scarcity. They wake up with a racing heart and tight chest, wondering, what if today nothing works out? What if that call is a bill collector? What if this pain is serious? What if I'm not good enough? These thoughts aren't random. They're the direct product of your imagination running wild, creating negative scenarios. And you already know what you imagine often, you begin to feel. And what you feel constantly turns into results. Have you ever seen a rich, healthy, and happy person spend all day saying, "It won't work"? Of course not. Their minds operate on a different frequency. Before you think, "Oh, Bob, that's just cheap positive thinking," let me tell you, it's not positive thinking. It's physics, it's neuroscience, it's vibration. Your imagination creates images. These images trigger emotions, and those emotions put your body into a specific vibration. And that vibration attracts everything in your life. You might not see this vibration, but it's here right now, deciding if what you want will come closer or move away. Many years ago, before I became who I am today, I was a lost young man cleaning floors in a cleaning company in Toronto. My salary barely covered the basics, around 3,000 Canadian dollars per month. Then one day, a man gave me a book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. In just a few pages, I learned that what I imagined every day was building my reality. I spent years imagining failure, so I lived failure. The day I decided to imagine success, my world began to change. And then they say, "But Bob, I just want peace, a better job, I just want to stop worrying." But the problem lies exactly there. They use the right words, but imagine the wrong pictures. They say, "I want peace," but picture fights. Say, "I want money," but imagine overdue bills. They say, "I want prosperity," but feel afraid to open their bank account. Can you see the conflict? The conscious mind says one thing, but the subconscious, which truly attracts, is vibrating something else. That's why people feel stuck. Not because they're dumb, lazy, or unlucky, but because they use their imagination as a weapon against themselves. Now imagine for a moment, just a moment, that you have a creative power inside you, and everything you think with intensity, feel with truth, and imagine clearly will inevitably manifest in your life. Imagine yourself living where you've always wanted, waking up with gratitude, joy, and peace, receiving an unexpected call that changes everything. Imagine your body full of energy, your bank account filled with millions of dollars, and your heart full of peace, and do this for 5 minutes every day. I know it may seem ridiculous at first. Your mind will say this doesn't work because it's addicted to survival, not to thriving. Studies from Yale University show the brain can't distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is real. That's why elite athletes spend hours visualizing before competition. That's why billionaire executives have mental routines before meetings. Jim Carrey wrote himself a check for approximately $100 million years before he earned it. And he got it. Do you think it was a coincidence? Now tell me. What do you want to see on your life screen? Because this movie only plays if you are the writer and the director. Everything starts with what you imagine. When we were children, no one had to teach us to imagine. It came naturally and instinctively. At 3 or 4 years old, you were a master creator, turning a cardboard box into a spaceship, a towel into a superhero cape, and a blanket into a castle or a hideout. But then school came, and in that environment that should expand your mind, you started hearing, "Stop daydreaming. Pay attention. Color inside the lines. That doesn't exist. Come back to reality." And without realizing it, your greatest gift, your vivid, intense, free imagination, began to be silenced, not because it was dangerous, but because it was inconvenient for a system that wants obedient, predictable, standardized people. Without many hopes, I failed several times at school and believed I was stupid because the system valued only what I could memorize, not what I could imagine. One day I realized that the silence that made me stare out the window and dream crazy plans was actually my soul screaming to remind me who I am. Maybe you're experiencing something similar now, listening to this with a feeling of emptiness, as if you forgot something important or feel disconnected from yourself. I tell you, you are not broken. You were just convinced to fit into a mold that was never yours. It's time to reclaim that and your right to dream big. Imagine using your imagination like when you were a child, but now with the power of an adult. What if school had taught you to clearly visualize your goals? To design your life like an architect designs a house, developing the habit of mentally seeing success before it happens. The results would be so different, you might not even recognize your own life. This is not just a pretty theory, it's real practice. Children have energy, enthusiasm, curiosity. They aren't afraid to make mistakes or look silly, because their minds are still free from the prison built by the adult world. That's why great geniuses like Einstein, Da Vinci, and Tesla never abandoned their childlike minds. Tell me, when was the last time you allowed yourself to imagine freely without worrying if it made sense or what others would think? Maybe you spent your whole life trying to fit into something that suffocates your essence, following rules not made for you, ignoring that whisper inside that says, there's something more. And there is. A part of you that never stopped dreaming is just asleep. You only need to wake it up. Start simple. Take a notebook and write in detail what your perfect day would look like as if it's real. Where you wake up, who you're with, what you do, how you feel, without fear, like a child drawing. This daily practice brings your imagination back to life. When that happens, you start seeing opportunities you didn't see before, acting with courage you didn't have, and living a life that once only existed inside you. That life has always been there, waiting for you to remember it. Have you heard of the actor's technique? William James from Harvard University said we should act like the person we want to become. This simple idea has transformative power that most people have never experienced. Most wait to change before acting differently, but life changes when you decide to live as if you already have. The brain cannot tell the difference between a deeply imagined experience and a lived one, so when you act as if you already are the person you want to become, your brain begins to rewire itself to support this new identity. You literally start becoming the role you play. This isn't superficial pretending, but an internal process, a daily practice that eventually turns into your reality. When I first learned this principle, I was broken and insecure, carrying an identity that no longer served me. Yet I chose to start acting like a successful person, even though I wasn't yet. That didn't mean spending beyond my means. It meant changing my posture, speech, tone, decisions, and how I looked people in the eye. I remember attending an event in Chicago as an observer, not a participant, but I decided to behave like the keynote speaker, arriving early, sitting front row, greeting warmly, asking thoughtful questions. That day, an organizer noticed me, and 3 months later invited me to speak at a seminar. It all started because I acted as if I already belonged there. Want to change your life? Start acting as though your life has already changed. Observe how successful entrepreneurs behave, how they decide, organize their days, and speak about themselves. Then copy them. Don't wait for validation. Wear the role before receiving the title. If you want a healthy relationship, act like someone who already feels loved. If you want health, treat your body with respect and awareness even if you're still fighting old habits, because behavior precedes change. Jim Carrey, before becoming an actor, used to drive to Hollywood Hills and visualize himself as a star. He wrote himself a check for $300 million for acting services. He carried that check in his pocket, acting as if that future was guaranteed. Years later, he earned exactly that amount for the film Dumb and Dumber. This wasn't coincidence, but alignment between internal image and external action. What about you? How are you acting now? Like the person you want to be, or like the person life forced you to become? The world treats you based on how you present yourself, and you only show strength when you believe in your role. You don't need to wait for anything. Transformation begins when you decide to embody your highest self with courage, presence, and intent. Here's a simple yet powerful exercise. For 7 days, pick one area you want to change. Spend 10 minutes daily imagining your best self in that area, then act accordingly without telling anyone. I assure you, over time, the world around you will start adapting to the new person you have decided to become. Because the external world always follows internal transformation, never the other way around. And you can start right now without permission or waiting another day. Act as the person you want to be, and soon enough the whole world will begin treating you that way. There is something extraordinary flowing inside and outside of you at this very moment, an invisible, creative, real energy that shapes everything around you. You might not realize it, but it is there, and the most amazing part is that it directly responds to the images you hold in your mind. In the 1930s, a Russian photographer named Semyon Kurlian discovered a way to capture this energy around the human body. Using high frequencies, he managed to photograph a vibrant aura that emanates from every living being. This is not belief, but science, measured and observed. What you think, feel, and imagine does not stay only inside you. It vibrates outward, and this vibration determines what you attract or repel. This is not esoteric talk. It is physics, biology, and electromagnetism. The energy you emit depends on the image you maintain within yourself. If the image is one of failure, the vibration is scarcity. If it is guilt, the vibration is self-sabotage. If it is fear, the vibration is paralysis. But if the image is prosperity, love, and freedom, then that is what begins to move toward you. I remember a time when I was trying to grow my business. I did everything, meetings, calls, strategies, but nothing flowed. Though outwardly I said I believed, inside I was full of fear, feeling like an imposter, wondering if I was good enough or if anyone would really listen. And of course the results reflected that. Nothing worked until one day I thought, if every action starts from a vibration, and that vibration comes from the image I hold, then I need to change the image before trying to change the action. From then on, I visualized daily people connecting with me enthusiastically, imagining packed audiences, applause, transformation. Most importantly, I began to feel it as if it were already real. Then I saw the flow change. Calls started being returned. Doors that were closed began to open. Why? Because I changed the vibrational field I was emitting. I changed the image, and that changed everything. Have you noticed how some people enter a room and immediately attract attention, respect, and opportunities, while others with the same skills go unnoticed? The difference is not in what they have, but in the energy they emit. And that energy is born from an internal image. Do you want to be respected? See yourself as someone worthy of respect. Do you want to be desired? Feel desired first. Do you want to be well paid? See yourself receiving gratitude and abundance for what you deliver. Everything starts there, and don't try to fool the process. You can wear the best clothes, have the best resume, say all the right phrases, but if inside you the image is scarcity, doubt, or fear, your vibration will shout that before you even open your mouth. What is inside overflows outside, and when that happens, the universe listens, people feel it, and the world reacts. You have probably felt it, being near someone and thinking, I don't know what it is, but they emit something different. Sometimes you enter a place and instantly feel drained and heavy, as if something is out of place. Energy never lies. Your energy at this very moment is shaped by the image you hold in your mind right now. So stop carrying images within yourself that do not represent the life you want to live. You have the power to change this now. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and build a new image. See yourself living with lightness, with purpose, and with dignity. See others recognizing your value. Feel the joy of waking up each morning with enthusiasm. Visualize the sounds, sensations in your body, and the words you hear. Hold this image for a few minutes every day, because the clearer the image, the more powerful the vibration. And the more consistent the vibration, the more inevitable the results will be. You do not need to see in order to start believing, but you must believe intensely to start seeing. The image is in your hands and the energy is ready to respond. Now it is up to you. The image you sustain in your mind is the mold of your reality. Nothing, absolutely nothing, happens in your life without first happening in your imagination. This is where everything begins. This is where you plant, and sooner or later what is sown will bloom. Use this power consciously and intentionally, because when you change the image, you change the vibration. When you change the vibration, you change the result. And when you change the result, you change your life. If you want to take one more step on this journey, the next video appearing on your screen will take you to a new level of awareness and make you 1% better, which makes all the difference.